Welcome to Homeschooling and Life Unfiltered with Court and Jess, where real talk meets real life. Court and Jess are two friends, fellow moms, and business partners who live in different time zones and juggle homeschooling alongside motherhood and entrepreneurship. Jess is a mom of 8 and Court is a mom of 7, and together they're raising 15 kids and navigating the wild, wonderful world of homeschooling, each in completely different ways. Every week, we invite you to pull up a chair for honest conversations, practical tips, and uplifting encouragement. You'll hear from moms across the country who are homeschooling in a way that works best for their families. Whether you're a veteran homeschool mom just getting started or somewhere in between, this is your space to feel seen, supported, and inspired. Because no matter how different our paths may look, we are all in this together.
Hi, thanks for joining us. Welcome to Homeschooling Life Unfiltered with Court and Jess. I'm Jess.
I'm Court.
And today we are going to talk all about how tips and tricks and routines and rhythms for how to keep our houses somewhat managed and organized and keep them from falling into utter chaos when we're homeschooling or working and homeschooling. And so we're going to talk about a little bit about chore systems, things we've done that have worked, things that we had to have done that haven't worked, and just any tips and tricks that we have.
I love it. I actually, long time ago, used to have a blog back when everybody had a blog.
Yeah.
And we would do like sponsored highlight, you know what I mean? It was like something I got paid to do. And my chore one that I did like a 2-part thing, was probably like my most popular one.
I love it. I'm excited to hear. Do you want to start?
Sure. I mean, yeah, I'll start with what I started with when my kids were little.
Okay.
So, I mean, I will fully own that some of this I still do and some of it I don't.
Both.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
So
when you say little, though, give our listeners an idea. What age range are we talking? Like, who would you say this is to the mom of X?
Anybody who has at least a 5-year-old.
Okay.
I mean, we start chores when they're 3, to be honest. Let's be fair. Like, they're given things to do at 3 because that's when they're excited and they want to. Yes. And it might be just handing them stuff out of the washer for them to throw into the dryer, or like, you know, setting it. At the time, I used to have one of those dryers that like folded out that you could put the laundry on top of it. I didn't have a front loading one. I had like, you know, a normal old one, and I'd put it on there and then they would shove it into the dryer, and that was their chore because they loved it. Anyway, so anybody, like, literally this can be done with any kids. I don't care how old your kids are. This could be done. I mean, if you have 5 kids under the age of 4, this is probably not for you, but it can be done and adapted to anything. So what I did, now remember, I had 7 kids. And so I think when I started this, when this came to my aha, I think Sydney probably was 10. So I probably had like 6 kids at the time, maybe. Because I think Sydney was almost 12 when I had Macy. They're almost exactly 12 years apart. Or 11 and a half or something. I don't know. They were all very close together. It's kind of a blur, like when you think about it like that.
Yeah, it does.
So what I did is I kind of, and this was in a moment of exasperation where we've all been, where we have a million kids and a million things to do. And you're just like, you can't do it all. And you're kind of like, this was my straw that broke the camel's back. And so I just kind of wrote down, I just sat down one day at the end of the day, just beyond exhausted, and just was like, I have to figure this out. So I just wrote down, what are all the things that we have to do in this house to make it like run and function? So we had dogs. We always have, I have dogs. I love dogs. So we have dogs. So we had to vacuum every day. You know, like the dishwasher had to get emptied every day. Or, you know, we had stairs. Do the stairs need to be vacuumed every day? No. But the rug where we're all living in the living room or the family room, that need to be done. The floor needs to be swept. The kitchen need to be swept. You know, the bathroom might need to be like wiped down so that I'm not embarrassed if somebody comes over that there's, you know, fingerprints all over the mirror or toothpaste sprayed all over the mirror.
Right.
I know my kids do that, but they all do it. You know, just like feeding the dog. The dog needs to be fed and the dog needs to be watered. You know, all those. What are the things in my house that had to be done every single day that I wouldn't, so that we could have people, you know, walk in? And when we're not talking like cleaning lady clean, you know, right, or, you know, 100% mom standard. It's that, what is it? The Fly Lady, that housework done incorrectly is still done. I think that came from Fly Lady.
Okay. Nice.
So it's kind of just, what are the things that need to do? So I just wrote down a list, and it came out that there was 14, well, probably at the time there might have been 10 things on it. So they each got 2 chores. However old they were, they got 2 chores. And it might be that somebody unloaded the top of the dishwasher and somebody unloaded the bottom of the dishwasher because they were little. So like it was something little, you know, or it might be for forever. My toddlerish children were to unload the silverware. I want to hear a funny little thing about my silverware drawer. Okay, so Audrey, which is, she's now 17, she's a senior, but she was my naughtiest little child. Like she just was a child that got into everything. She had colic when she was a baby. She was just like that child, you know?
Yeah.
And her job for forever was, because she was probably 3 or 4. She was a preschooler, maybe 4. And she was the silverware person because that was something she could do. Like it was a level she could do. And we're not talking knives. Those are different things, but just like your normal everyday cutlery.
Yeah.
And so she would put them away. And then I started noticing all these little like lines on the front of like the drawer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I was like, what the heck is happening? Like, this is so weird. So when she was doing it, she just thought it was so fun to take like the butter knives and she would like run them over the edge. And she was making like divots and dents in the front of the silverware thing on my, so needless to say, she got removed from that job and got a different one. But anyway, so you just have to know that when you're giving preschoolers jobs or younger kids, they do need a little more supervision than I was probably giving her at the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I took my list of these are the 10 things and I divvied them up. And so each kid got 2 chores and we tended to do, and it would be something they do with me. Like I would show them how to do it. And then once they mastered it, when their job moved on, like the big kid could show the next kid how to do it. You know what I mean? It didn't always have to be mom. And it was very little supervision probably. I mean, other than like the first time I showed them, I'd go back and check, but they kept that job until they mastered it. So they kept these jobs a good, you know, like every 3 or 4 months, we might change. And now we're talking like 6 to 8 months we change. We keep the jobs a little bit longer because I found that like the longer they have the job, the more they really actually know how to do it.
Yeah.
And like we have one child in this house who is terrible at bathrooms. Like she's just horrendous at it. And she's had the chore like a year. And I'm like, I don't even care. Like you're going to keep this until you leave this house. If this is what if I don't teach you anything, you have to be able to do a bathroom. Anyways, so just like, that's it. So I made my list of these are the things that needed to be done every single day to make my life. And then I divvied them up. So everybody got 2 chores. And we did this for years. And then we would reevaluate, you know, whenever we needed to, like, hey, these are some things that I need. So then we've added in like laundry, like moving in, like just starting a load of laundry every day and switching it. Like that was someone's chore every single day when we still had family laundry. That was somebody's chore. And then there's other chores that we did as pay chores. So folding pay chores, like money. Chores. Like I don't do allowance or anything like that. You do these chores because you live in our house and you reap the benefits of all of us being here.
Part of the hive.
Yeah. So, but just doing that divvying up those, you know, 10 things that needed to be done. And they were, you know, vacuuming or sweeping or emptying the dishwasher or feeding that. It took the mom brain, whatever, you know, like the stress of it. It was huge. It was like life altering at the time to just have that not all rest on mom's shoulders. And again, I would help when I needed to, and I would have to remind for a while. But we had a set chore time. So every single day, like we had breakfast, and after breakfast is chore time. And honestly, that was like 12 years ago. We still do that. We have breakfast and we have chore time. There's a 30-minute time and chores have to be done. You don't get to do chores whenever you want. That's when chores are done. And they're done before we start school. And I've literally been doing that forever. One of the other things at that same exact time is we had a kitchen helper for the day. And that person was in charge of all the dishes for the day. And so I have 7 kids. And so I literally haven't done dishes in years because I help whatever, but like we have 7 kids, each kid had a dish day and that was your day. It has obviously I've had a kid get married now. So then my husband took on a day, but now I have another kid that just went off to school. And so I kind of have a day now, but my husband normally picks it up because we also have the rule that if you cook, you don't have to clean. So
nice. You're cooking all the time.
I do most of the cooking. But I'll help out and I can kind of clean as I go. I don't just leave all the dishes, and everybody's still in charge of doing their own stuff. So like if they have breakfast or they have lunch, they're in charge of rinsing off their plate and putting it in the dishwasher. But the bulk of like the dinner dishes and the stuff that's cooked is what the kitchen person's in charge of. And they're in charge of wiping down the counters and like just resetting the kitchen every night.
I love that. So you wake up to a clean kitchen.
Yes.
I love it. My lady would be proud.
Yes. Yes.
Awesome.
So, I mean, that's probably like my biggest things that we do that were just those everyday things. And then we'll have like Saturday chores where we would mop, and everybody has like a Saturday chore attached to their floor. So like, for example, we have like downstairs tile that somebody sweeps every day. And then on Saturday, their job is to mop it. So like, that's their Saturday chore for their thing. And then, you know, like, so I will be fully honest, like now I actually have a cleaning lady that comes every 2 weeks. So I cheat a little bit. So my kids are, but I was also super adamant that I'm not going to have kids that still don't know how to do these things. So we still have these. Everyone still has chores that they do every single day. They just don't necessarily have to do the Saturday chores anymore. So we don't do the heavy mopping anymore or the big, deep bathroom cleans that we would previously do. That's really the only thing that they really don't do. Everything else is still done on a daily basis to make our house stay livable.
I love that. I love that. What is the thing that the fly lady says? If you live in the, like they can't have anybody come over.
Oh, syndrome.
Yeah. I can't think of
Can't
what
have anyone over syndrome. Can't have like chaos. Can't have anyone over.
That's what it is. Chaos. Yeah. Always trying to avoid that. So one of the things I love that you said that I said was, and I had never considered this, and I'm going to steal it. So an episode we did a little while ago about our morning baskets, I stole your World Watch, and it's been awesome. And I am going to steal this, keep it until they've mastered it, which I love because when they get chores that they're not good at, they often don't like it, right? And there's an attitude that comes attached to it. But if they know, like, hey, if I could show mom that I've mastered this, right, they're going to master it really quickly. I just think that's genius. So, and I like your kitchen helper thing too. So, all right. So we have tried so many chore systems over the course of my mothering. And some have gone really, really well. And others, right, they lasted a couple of days. And so the one that I like the most, it's so interesting because probably six to 8 months ago, probably. And, you know, because seasons, right, you change with the seasons. And so we had stopped this one chore method and things have just been in a different rhythm. I had multiple kids come to me and ask if we could go back to the old chore system. And I thought that was really cool, like a sign that worked really well. So what we did was, and I agree with you, I absolutely, it's not only that I do not want my children to be entitled, but that I want them to appreciate our home and the things that we have and see, you know, the value in it and to help care for it, right? And I want them to, when they leave and cleave, I want them to be able to run their households, right? Both as a son and a daughter, turned wife and husband. I want my daughters to go out and be able to be good and helpful wives, right? And I want my sons to be good and helpful husbands. And so my husband and I both had just an amazing childhood. We both have amazing parents, and both of us were high school sweethearts. And so we purchased our first home together. I think we were 20 and 22. And I kid you not, neither one of us had ever done a load of laundry in our entire lives, right? Ever.
Oh my gosh.
Ever. And so there we are. And then so there we are. I will never forget the first load of laundry that we ruined together, right? And it was a pretty expensive lesson to learn. And I think it was, I know that it was that there was a marker in somebody's pocket or a chapstick. I can't remember which one. I think it was chapstick. And it went through the washer and the dryer and ruined an entire load of clothes, right? And it was my clothes and Wes's clothes. And so we were not at a place where we could just afford to buy each of us, 3 new pairs of jeans and 3 sweatshirts. And that's expensive. So it was an expensive lesson. But not to take away from our mothers at all. They were amazing. And they took such good care of us. We just didn't learn some of the house skills that I want my kids now to learn, right? And so my kids start learning how to do their laundry at a really, really young age. Like we're talking 6 to 8 years old. They are actively participating in laundry. And it probably stems back to that one load of laundry, right? That Wes and I ruined as young adults, right? As old enough to know better. So anyways, laundry is one though that and cooking. So neither one of us, Wes and myself, we knew how to make nothing. I didn't even know how to boil an egg when we had our first kiddo and moved in together and then got married. And I still have the sheet of paper where I wrote down instructions from his mom on how to boil an egg. So that we had no skills.
You and Julia Child. When Julia Child got married, she didn't know how to boil an egg.
Really? Well, and now, right? Like I'm managing laundry for a huge household, and I love to cook, and I can cook very well. But every single one of my children, if they were an adult tomorrow by some magic spell, could run a household as far as laundry and cooking goes. But I just think that stems from just those were my biggest skill deficits. I could clean a house, right? Like I knew how to clean a house, but I didn't have the skills with the laundry, and I didn't have any skills with cooking. And thankfully I had a lot of good support, and both of our moms helped, right? Once we were out of the house and they saw, oh, we didn't teach you those things. They were right alongside us, and we lived locally. So we had that help from them. So that was great. So anyway, so those are the two skills. I guess I'll start out by saying that we work with the kids really young. And interestingly enough, my husband, who I could confidently say likely never even toasted his own toast as a child. He's an only child. His mom has been, I will say, the primary person in our household who has taught our children how to cook. I've cooked with them quite a bit as well, but she has really, like, that is her grandma game, right? Like she has taken that on very seriously. All of my children can cook from scratch. They can make noodles from scratch. They can make pastries. They can take a brand new recipe that is even from a different culture and be able to make it very well. And so I'm very, very grateful. But it's a little ironic that it was, my mother-in-law and my husband had, did none of that growing up. He was just very well fed and very well taken care of, and maybe just a little spoiled, but that's for another day. But I will just say that the chore system that worked the best for us was would they get little cards, right? And it has their steps listed out, because I want it to be done well. So it doesn't just say clean the kitchen unless they really understand what that means, right? But when they're littler, I'm saying, like, we're wiping off the counter. First, we're cleaning the counters off. Then we're cleaning out the fridge, and then we're wiping off the counters, and then we're sweeping, and then we're emptying the garbage. All of the things that need to be done. The steps are right out there on their little laminated cards, and then we use a little ring, and they have it on a ring. Their chores. Or sometimes there's been other seasons where they didn't need that, and it's just on a piece of paper, and it's pasted somewhere, taped somewhere in the house, or we all have copies. And I've done different things with having them check it off and things like that. But so they have their little stations, and we rotate. Sometimes I do a really fun thing where I'll make a list of the chores, and we're going to divvy them out for like the next month. Mm-hmm. And we love to play this little game. And so I'll read them off. And if the first one to claim it claims it, they get it, right? But there's like this game, because if you don't claim one by the end, you might have the worst one at the end. And so they have a lot of fun, like calling out which one they're going to take.
Do you do it by zones?
Yes. Yeah. By zones. Yeah. Yep. So you'll have like kitchen dining, or like the hardwood floors, or the tile rooms, things like that. So I don't know why we always categorize it by the floor type, but I do. So, or like you have the upstairs, or maybe you have the girls' bathroom, or the boys' bathroom, so on and so forth. And then we live on a hobby farm. So there's also some of the kids have like the stall cleaning and things like that are incorporated into their chores. And then everybody has an animal chore. So you might be the one that feed and waters the cats, the barn cats, or you have to walk the dogs in the evening, or maybe you're walking the dogs for their long walks in the morning. But the kind of the nuanced part or the fun part of our chore system has been that at the end of the day, so I'm one that I couldn't do chores after breakfast because I have to wake up. Like, I want the house to be clean when I wake up. Just sets the mood, the energy, all the things. So they can do their chores during the day, but when we and they kind of have to maintain it too, right? It's not just a one and done. They need to maintain it a little bit, not a ton, because then it just prolongs, it just makes this huge thing. But they do their chores. And then in the evenings before we go to bed, we collect all the stuff into, everybody has a basket. It's just a laundry basket. And then however many items I can find around the house, that's yours, that you left out. So not your zone necessarily, but like you didn't put your water bottle away, right? It goes in, everything goes in the basket. I have put dishes in the basket before. And then you get, and depending on kind of where we're at, ages and stages, anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes of cleaning that you owe me the next day.
You do that every day?
We do it every day. Yeah. And it's not fun cleaning. That 5 to 10 minutes, it's not fun cleaning. I've had kids that owe me hours of work the next day. And that doesn't happen very often, right? Like usually it's like, and they know when I'm going to do it, and I'll prep them, right? I'll be like, okay, we're 10 minutes until we go through, and then they're scrambling. And if they're not home, it's really interesting to watch. Sometimes they will, sometimes they'll help each other out, right? Like Chase will see that Maddox, oh no, Maddox left out 4 things and he's going to get it for him. And I love to see that, right? There's no rules against that. I love to see that. It makes me so happy. And I apologize. This is real life, right? Real life unfiltered. I'm going to have a baby for the second half of this podcast. So this is our youngest little baby. Her name is Kinsley. Can you say hi? So big brother was playing with her and he's got to go to soccer. So she's going to join us. But yeah, it's, and then I write down, and then they get to see we do tallies. So we go through the items, I tally them up, and then they see what their tally is and their total minutes. And and this is the part that they have requested back, is they like it. It keeps them accountable. It keeps their areas cleaner, right? Their zones are cleaner to start, because there's always this big debate of, well, who should have to pick it up if it's someone else's in their zone? Mm-hmm. Well, is everything in your zone something that somebody left undone, right? Otherwise, we just all have a clean house. And so, yeah, it's interesting that they've all really liked that part. So yeah, and then, sorry, we don't do it on the weekends. So on the weekends, we just have the same thing that you have. We have Saturday morning chores. So it's, during the nice weather months, right, in Minnesota. So you're talking May to October. It's usually we try to be outside chores. And then, yeah, that's the long and short of it. We, and then we have, as you know, or I think I've mentioned on the podcast before, we have a couple kiddos with some special needs. And so I have to adapt chores for them. So like our one son, who has a lot of severe cognitive impacts from his disability. He was born at 26 weeks and was 1.5 pounds, not even 1 pound, 11.5 ounces, and had a couple strokes when he was a baby. He's grown, right? He's grown now, but when he was little, and he loved to have a job, right? I think as special needs parents, one of the mistakes we sometimes are tempted to make is that, we just want to make everything really easy for them because their life is hard. And I found out really early on, he taught me that the greatest kindness I could do for him in so many ways was to have high expectations and to treat him like everyone else. And so he got taught how to do laundry the same time everybody else got taught how to do laundry. For him, it looked really different. He sorted colors, or not even colors. Colors came in later. Really, it started out with whites and darks. Just pick out the whites. So you're going to go through the clothes piles. I just want you to pick out all the things that are white, right? And I had to start the white pile from him because I can't remember which one was white, right? So everything that matches this one, You pull it in. And then we escalated to, okay, now you're going to just pull out all the whites. And then we added, okay, now pull out all the darks. And then we just taught him that process of sorting. And now he's 18 years old and he's launched and living very well in an apartment with support, of course, as a young adult. And he still loves to do laundry, right? And it was just this very gentle approach, but the expectation was there. And he loved to serve, right? That was a service he could do for our family and for mom. And so I guess I would encourage parents that have children who have special needs, no matter their range of functioning, there's absolutely always something that they can do to feel like they're contributing to what I always say, the hive, right? The hive of your home is your hive. We're all worker bees. But there's always something that you can find. You're going to have to adapt it, of course. And is it going to be perfect? Absolutely not. Am I going to make a big deal about the fact that there was a red sock, in the bottom of the white pile? No, I'm just going to check it right before I put it in to make sure. And it was helpful, right? Like it really was, because not only, and especially the moms who have special needs children here are going to appreciate this and recognize this, but not only did he feel good about being able to help with a chore and contributing, as all of his other siblings were hustle and bustle around him to do their chores. It's something he could feel proud of, but it also was something that he felt proud enough about and excited enough about that he was just so contented in that time, right? So it was a break for me too. It was like, okay, for the next 20 minutes, I know that he is going to be safe and contented, and we're likely not going to have a meltdown or have anything go wrong. And he's just going to pull the whites out of the laundry. And I could just breathe for, even just for that 20, 25 minutes. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but for those moms out there who are in the trenches, not just with mothering, but mothering special needs kids, 20 to 25 minutes of breathing room in one day is life-changing. And so I really encourage the parents out there who are parenting special needs kids, especially those that are low functioning, that they can contribute, and they have, of course we know they have value in our homes, but sometimes they need to see that we see their value in the way that they contribute to our homes. And so that was actually a really great part of our chore systems, and kind of watching those things develop in our home over time, and good for our kids to see too. And, and everybody's proud of them for this, great chores that they have put together. And then it translated over to other areas too, right? So, when if you would participate, for example, like in church activities, I would just let the church leader know in that group that, hey, if things are kind of going sideways, give him a job, right? Give him a job. He'll do really, really well. I mean, he's our public schooler too. I did homeschool him for a season, but, and the same thing with, letting the school know, hey, if you're finding there's a tricky time of the school day, make that the time that he's in charge of this, right? And they still use that to this day, because he's still doing some classes, and it's great. So it's not something I think we should shy away from. Let me ask you, do you ever get the naysayers that say that you are taking away from their childhood by having them be responsible for chores?
I don't hear that as much anymore, because I think people so much see the value in, like, we're trying to raise adults. Like, the end goal is we want them to be functioning adults. We don't want them to, but like, so for example, like, I have a daughter who has a friend who's getting married, and she's never done a load of laundry. Like, she's never changed her bed. Like, and her mom just, like, that's her love language, is she wants to do all these things. But at what, at what cost? Yeah. I remember
that child.
Yeah. I remember my sister has a son who's just a little bit younger than my oldest, and he would come over, and he was like 12 and didn't know how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And my kids were like, what? Like, that's something you learn when you're 4. So they taught him how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and they still talk about it. Now they're all adults. They talk about teaching him how to make this peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And so I think it's something we're empowering our kids. We're giving them skills that they're going to, like, use the rest of their lives. So I'd love to know how you said that your kids help with laundry when they're younger, But are they in charge of their own laundry, or are they helping with family laundry? How do you do that? I'm just curious.
Yeah, great question. So when our family dynamic, when we were a younger family, it was the family laundry as a whole, right? So it was all done together. But as our children have gotten older, there have been, sorry, I'm watching the baby off screen here and watching her navigate this big block. So as my children have gotten older and then they've taken on their own laundry as a responsibility, there's less family laundry to do, right? And so now we're at a point where Kinsley's our youngest, and she is being hilariously cute over here, you guys. So I'm sorry, I'm distracted, but she's at such a fun stage, and she's so curious, and it's just fun to watch her light up with all these new discoveries. But I'm gonna grab her. She's gonna join us for a little bit. She's getting a little too brave for mom's comfort. But it's interesting. What I was saying is that now with Kinsley being our youngest, we have everybody else except for our 10-year-old is doing their own laundry. And so we have our next youngest then is 13. So 13 and up, they're all doing their own laundry. We have one other daughter with special needs who requires help with her laundry, I guess, too. So we do help her. She's 14 with her laundry. But it's still teaching, right? Like she's still doing as much of it as she can, but her laundry is washed by itself just because she's a big kid, and all the big kids get their laundry washed by themselves, because they're doing their own loads. But yeah, in the good old days, right, when all of our kids were little and they were all home, it was the whole family's laundry. Yep.
Yeah. So we used to do it, the whole family laundry together. And like, that was some of the chores is they would sort their laundry. Like I had like a laundry hamper, like a big one that had like, it was divided into 3. So there was colors, whites and darks. And that was somebody's chore to sort the laundry. And then another one was to start it and switch it. So now just probably within the last, 5 years, we switched to each room has a day.
Oh.
So like Rory and so my 14 and 11-year-old share a room. So they have Mondays, that's their laundry day.
Yep.
And then like my one daughter lives by herself in her own room. She has a day. And then each room. So if they have 2 big people, so like I have, my senior and my 20-year-old live together, they share a room. So they actually have 2 days because they have enough laundry to warrant like
2
multiple loads. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Grady has a day, and then I have 2 days, like, and I do like the towels and the, like the household laundry and like my laundry. And so everybody has a day. And if you miss your day, you are tough out of luck. Unless you can put something in someone else's laundry. Because that's what I was going to ask. So if everybody does their own laundry, how do you divvy up like when people do it?
They have a day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they have a day. And then right now, so they have a day, and they have to wash their bedding too on their day. So that has to fit in there too. And then one of the kiddos has a Saturday chore that is getting the towels caught up, the towel laundry, because that is like towels and socks are like the worst laundry for us, and I don't understand it really. It's so bizarre, but yeah, towels and socks.
I had this conversation with my daughter the other day because I have 2 kids right now that live downstairs and 3 that live upstairs because I have the one that's gone and one anyways. And I walked into their bathroom and they have like a wall of hooks, and every hook, we're talking 12 hooks, has a towel on it. And I was like, there's 2 people that live downstairs. I don't understand. So my daughter goes, oh, well, I like to get a new towel every time I take a shower. And I was like, let's not. Like, and that's not necessary. I'm like, you're not that dirty.
Well, that's so funny you say that, because my kids are getting this bad habit too of taking more than one towel. It's like several towels a week. And I'm trying to figure out why. And they're like, well, somebody else or mine got mixed in with somebody else's. I wasn't sure which one was mine. And I'm like, where are you putting these towels that you don't know which one is yours, And so that's interesting. But and I'm really weird about washing towels in a very specific way that we wash towels. So I only have a couple kids trained on the very specific way to wash towels. The thing with socks though, so, right, like it's the same story, I think, at everybody's house that ever lived. And I mean, if it's not the story at your house, please write into us and tell us what your secret is. But It's just, I cannot tell. I could fill 5 baskets of socks right now, and I bet I could only match 1 or 2, right? 1 or 2 baskets worth out of the 5. And so, and people think that I'm either genius or nuts. So I'll be interested to see. Have I told you this before?
No.
So once a year, we throw away all of the socks and we start over.
So I was going to say, I just went through, because everyone has their own laundry, but then random things always get put in my laundry, because like the dog will take a sock and like it always ends up in mom's laundry. So at the bottom of the laundry hamper, I always have like all the random socks. Like, and so I finally at one point just dumped it out and was like, everybody come claim your socks. And if you don't claim them, I'm throwing them away. And I threw away almost a laundry basket full of socks. I was like, I'm done with this. This is stupid.
We will throw away 2 huge garbage bags of socks a year. And that's probably really wasteful. And I'm sure somebody will be mad, and I apologize. But it's that or my sanity. So, but a couple years ago, my mom turned us on to Bombas socks.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know what those things are made out of, but they are indestructible. They are amazing. And they donate a pair to people in need, families in need, 1 pair for every pair you buy. So I love that. But we do pick out those ones. So I do make them pick out all the Bombas socks, and then we throw all the rest away. But they're a little bit expensive, so we don't just exclusively have Bombas socks, right? They're the ones that have been gifted to us and things. Like my mom gives them for Christmas. But yeah, all the rest, even like the nicer name brand ones you would think of, they just don't, like, just nothing holds up like the Bombas socks do. So but we still end up with baskets full of socks that we do have to throw away. So that's kind of our thing. And then I was just thinking, you said something earlier. It's a little off topic, but you said you wash by rooms. Mm-hmm. This is the first time since I only had 2 kids. So this is the first time since 2007. You can do the math on that one. That I will not have any kids sharing a room, because we just launched another. It makes me, like, of all the things, right? That has hit me so hard and like makes me so sad.
How many bedrooms do you have?
4 upstairs. Well, okay, Kinsley, I guess, right? She still sleeps in our room.
Okay.
But yeah, just 4. We have 4.
Okay, we have 3 girls at home, not counting Kinsley, and then Chase. Oh, that's crazy.
And there was a time, it feels really crazy, because there was a time where we had how many kids we have at the time? We had 7 kids. We lived in 1,200 square feet, 3 bedrooms.
Wow. So a girl room, a boy room.
We did.
And then a bedroom.
That's what we had. Yep. That's exactly what we had. And the rooms were tiny. These are not like, oh, they were living in spacious rooms or like a big walk-up attic. Absolutely not. These rooms were tiny. What'd you say?
Bunk beds everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Bunk beds, toddler beds squeezed into corners. I mean, you name it. We had a trundle. We had to have trundle beds, right?
Yeah, like, we had a triple bunk bed.
Yeah. Well, our ceilings weren't high enough for that. We definitely would have had that.
We made it. So it was like there was a normal bunk bed, and then the other bed came off the end. So it was kind of like this weird little zigzag thing. So it wasn't any higher than a normal bunk bed.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had that for a long time. Actually, right now, I guess because Delaney's in Utah, I only have 2 kids sharing a room. Yeah. Rory and Macy share a room.
Isn't that kind of smart?
Yeah. Grady's the only one that's ever always had his own room because he's a boy.
Well, because he's the only boy.
Well,
yeah.
When he was little, he and Macy shared a room for a while. I don't know if you do this, but like we don't anymore. Now they're a little more settled. But when the kids were little, it was like every 6 months they would change rooms as to like who was sharing with who. Like it was just always, I would never like decorate rooms up to the, like fancy bedrooms, because literally every 6 months to a year they would change rooms as to who their roommate was. And then they'd want to change it. And anyway, so
yeah,
it stayed this way for a while.
Interesting. So my husband grew up in a household where the day that the furniture people brought in the brand new furniture and put it in their spot, it was never moved again. You never moved furniture, right? Like, I kid you not, the furniture is still in the same place. I mean, it's been there for decades, and it
Oh,
doesn't move unless it's replaced, right? And I grew up in a household where we swapped whole bedrooms all the time, right? Like our dining room became, the living room and vice versa. I mean, like that's just the way it was. It was just,
the couch would change walls, or the TV would change walls, or like,
Oh, 100%. Sorry, I'm keeping an eye on the baby too here.
No, you're fine.
So when my husband and I, began this journey out together and had a home, I will never forget the day that he had been at work, and I think my mom came over and we rearranged, let's rearrange the living room. Like,
that's what you do.
No big deal, right? And he came home and he was completely dumbfounded. He was like, what, why, what happened? Like, he didn't have words. He was just like, what do you mean you wanted to move? Like, what do you mean you wanted to move the furniture? He wasn't upset. He was just, I mean, you talk about a deer in the headlights. That's what I saw. I mean, he was just so shocked. And so it's so funny. And now, right, like I have totally converted him. We don't even just rearrange, but like we take down walls, right? Like we cut holes in walls and rearrange that way. We move doors, we move windows, like we do it all. And so I love household projects. Like I love them. On my joy list, which we've talked about in this podcast, it's household renovations and household projects. I love projects, and my husband is super handy, so he can do them. So I'm so blessed that way. But anyway, sorry, that was really far moved from our chore lists. But bringing it back to our chore lists, any other tips and tricks that you have for chores?
Okay, I have one more. And I don't know if this is a tip or trick, but it's something funny. And my kids were just talking about it at the dinner table, because my little kids now have never experienced this. But when I had a bunch of kids, and when we were homeschooling, we were home all day long, and things just accumulate. Like you have markers from a project, or crayons from a project, or a toy, or you just end up in weird places, right? Yeah. So I would go through, I think I probably did this once every few weeks, and I would make a pile. And normally it was when I was super frustrated and annoyed that there was just crap everywhere. And so I would just walk around and I would put this huge pile in the middle of the living room, like this mound of all the things. Like, I don't care if it was a sock, it was a shoe, it was a toothbrush, it was a book, it was a water cup, whatever, made this big old pile. And then they couldn't do anything until it was all put away where it belonged. Like they had to run it around. So they still talk about, do you guys remember the pile? They talk about it. But man, I've never had a cleaner house than when like everything was put away. And I haven't done that in years. And I threatened it the other day. I was like, you guys, we need to go back to the piles. And all my big kids are like, oh my gosh, I remember the piles. And my little kids are like, what is that? So I feel like I should just do it so my little kids know what a pile is. But it was a very effective way to get a bulk of things done at a very short time, because honestly, little people, even husbands, don't see the random things that are in the wrong place. Like they don't see that little trinkety toy that's on the end table, that's been on the end table for forever, but that is not where it belongs. Or you know what I mean? At the bottom of this, like our old house when my kids were little was a 2-story house. And so the stairs would accumulate so much stuff because I didn't want to walk up the stairs to put it there.
Yep.
And they would just stick it at the bottom of the stairs and they would just stay forever. But they just don't see the little things that we see. Or they'll just step over it. They don't even care. There's a cup on the ground. They don't care. So
I have purposely left things to see how many times the other people in my house will step over it. And it's disheartening how many times they will.
For real. So anyways, that I love a good pile purge. And it's amazing what can happen when you make a big pile and make everybody. But everybody had to help and nobody got to leave until it was done, because they'd be like, oh, well, that's not mine. And I'm like, I don't care. Then you can stand here and stare at it, but you're not leaving the room until everything's put away.
It's kind of a version of like the baskets that we do, where you
that's what made me think of it when you said that.
Yeah. No, I love that. But that's good too, because some of the times, like our basket method will leave other things still out, because it's like, well, who did leave the marker out? I don't know, or who did, or this doesn't really belong to anyone, or multiple people have used the scissors now today, and now it's still sitting on the counter, things like that. So I love that method. That's so fun.
It's a good one. It still would work.
That's awesome. So I'll tell you one other funny story from when we were young, and then I will, or when we were young, when my kids were young, is we got into this, like when I knew, so how did I know that we needed a really good chore system? So for you, right, it was that moment of just like exasperation where you were just over your head. For me, and I hate to admit this, but when I was a young mom, for me, it was like we would start picking up and the kids would be like, who's coming over? Who's coming over? And I'm like,
Oh,
nobody. We just need to clean the house. And like I don't know why, but maybe it's the Midwest. I don't know what it is, but people just stop over randomly all the time, right? Like the doorbell rings and you look around and you're either like, okay, let's see who's here, or your heart just sinks because you're like, who's here? So, but yeah, we have moved past that, but yeah, it's so funny. We, for a long time when they were little, and then here and there as we've like ebbed and flowed in our family culture and development, have been times where, you know, again, they're like, who's here? Is nobody. Everybody needs to do that, right? And that's the time that's in between our chore systems where we've fallen off the bandwagon, right?
Yeah. And
then it's just like, you know, chaos, and you're always having to pick up in some sort of emergency situation because you forgot that you're, you know, hosting the missionaries for dinner or something like that, and they're on their way.
It's way less stressful if you have a system and you just know that, like, we just maintain. Like, is my house completely clean all the time? No, but is it functioning? And then we can open the door and anybody can come in at any time? Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like, it makes the mom brain power, takes the mom brain power out of it.
Absolutely.
Everything on autopilot.
Sorry, she got a little too far for my comfort again. Yeah, no, absolutely. And what I learned this past couple of weeks is that not only does it take the brain power out of it for us and help us, but for the kids too. Like for my kids to ask for this specific chore system to come back into place, or a few months ago, I guess not weeks, is, I think, just incredible and such a reinforcing moment to how important systems and structure are in your homes for your kids too. And so, yeah, I guess I would encourage people to think about that too when they feel guilty or they've been made to feel guilty about having chores in their home or systems. You have to remember that kids thrive with systems, and we thrive with systems, and it's not a bad thing. You're not stealing anyone's childhood. You're only adding to it, and also adding to their future adulthood as well.
Totally. I have one more thing that I personally do. Okay, so I don't do the day-to-day chores, right? Like they're just, I mean, I maintain my bathroom, making sure stuff's put away. But I like to have, and I don't do this every day, but I do it a lot of days where I pick the thing that's bugging me the most. And that's the thing that I'm going to spend 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So it might be like, I'm thinking like right now what's bugging me the most is I have some blinds upstairs that really need to be cleaned. And like, that's what I would do. Or the other day I was like walking down the stairs and my stairwell is white and there was just finger smudges. You know what I mean? Like they just and so that's the thing that I'm just going to, you know, it takes 5 minutes. I'm going to wipe that down. Or I might, you know, do the TV because it has fingerprints on it. Like, I don't understand how a TV way up high gets fingerprints on it. I don't even understand that, but it does. But just like little things like that. So that's mine. So like my thing is what's bugging me the most. And that's the thing that I'm going to spend my, you know, 15 minutes on, or however much time I have, because there's all those little things that aren't assigned out to me. Cause like those things aren't assigned to anybody. They're not really that big of a deal. But you know, it might be like, I just today it was water the plants because they're looking a little sad. I was like, oh, I should water my plants, you know, just little things like that. And so for me, I just try to find something. Like the junk drawer was driving me bonkers, and it has been for forever. Yeah. And I finally just did it. I just did it one Saturday. I happened to be home and I had a half an hour. I literally just threw almost 90% of it away. But every time my kids open, they're like, oh, who did this? And they get like all excited, like, woo, who did this? And it's so funny. So I have one corner of my kitchen that has like a Lazy Susan, and it has a fruit bowl, like where we keep the bananas, but it doesn't have bananas in it. It ends up being the place that people put random crap. Like it's just like a corner. And so Kennedy, my daughter that's in nurse school, came home the other day and she was like, wow, our house is really clean. And I'm like, well, I mean, the cleaning lady came today, but it doesn't look any different than normal. She's like, no, it just looks so clean. And she's like, and I was like, well, I cleaned that counter, like this little counter space that always has junk on it. And I was like, oh, well, that was my project today. And she's like, that's why. She goes, it's just so clean because there's nothing there. So it's funny how they notice those weird little things, or, you know, clutter breeds clutter. Like once they see one thing, it's like the I don't know. It's like an okay thing to now put whatever you want there. You know, that's where the random pencils go, or the flashlights, or the batteries, or the, you know, anyways. So I've just noticed by doing that, what's bugs me the most thing, it really helps keep all those little random things, it just tidier and neater and makes me happier.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. No, and I agree. It's clutter is hard for me. I was going to mention this too for just like a couple of tips too for people that are navigating kiddos with some special considerations. So I have a couple of kids who struggle, who are quite gifted, but oftentimes when you have a kiddo who's gifted, comes some a few problems with executive functioning, right? And so anybody, if you've got a kiddo who has struggles with executive functioning, if they look at a messy room, they will shut down, right? That they're going to have the fit. I can't. And these are the kids that have, you know, where they've been because you can follow their trail of mess, right? If you have a kiddo and you know where they've been in your house, chances are they likely have an executive function, some kind of deficit in executive functioning, which is not a scary thing. Like brilliant people have this. Like it's not scary, but it can be tricky to navigate if you don't understand it. And so so I have one child in particular who is brilliant. But she struggles with executive functioning, and I can tell you so I could literally go through today and show you every single place she's been, right? Because there's my little trail, Hannah's little, you know, rabbit trail. And so when I tell her you need to clean your room, she'll have an epic meltdown, and she cannot physically do it, right? It would take her so much time. Right. She needs that first layer taken off, and then she needs steps. Well, first layer taken off, or she needs steps. Right. So if I can go and just do the first layer, like get the dirty clothes out, if there's any trash, right, like the big things, put the clothes away, she will spend hours happily doing like the organizing her bookshelf and organizing her clothes drawers and taking out her closet of the things that don't fit her. And like, she's very content to spend hours to do that. So it's not that she doesn't want to do the chore, right? Her brain doesn't process that. She looks at this huge, you know, mess as a whole, and she shuts down. And so if you've got kids like that, if you're noticing that your kids have these giant meltdowns for their chores, they might need you to either take that first layer off for them and then let them do the detailed work, or they need really specific steps. And so one of the ways that we do those, like when we do our deep cleaning, this is where it often will come in. So it's like the room deep cleans. And that is, we'll play. So we're a huge music family. We have music on all the time. We love music. Actually, my dream would be to be able to have like a whole sound system that goes through the whole house. We just use speakers now. But what we do is say, okay, in this next song, we're going to pick up all of the trash off of the floor in your bedrooms. And then we're going to spend 2 songs going through the dirty clothes and, you know, setting out the piles. And then we're going to spend 3 songs, you know, sorting through your books. And then we're going to spend a song dusting. And so you're racing the song to get that category done, or racing those couple songs. And that is really, really helpful for those kiddos that struggle with executive functioning. But even if they don't, that's just a really fun way to clean a really messy space. Turn on some music and say, okay, everybody, we're going to do books for this song. And everybody's going to do their floor chores in their zone for the next 2 songs, right? So I'd be like sweeping, mopping, and that kind of stuff. Swiffering. So yeah, those are the last couple.
Yeah, so that can be overwhelming for any kid to go into a room. It's daunting. I mean, it's daunting for me sometimes when I go and I'm like, I don't even know where to start. Right?
Yes.
Helping them with those skills. Like, okay, first let's do this. And second, let's do this. I don't care how old kids are. They still, I mean, obviously big kids eventually get that. But my son is totally like that. And he's just like, I can't clean my room. And I was like, well, you can. Like, let's just start with this. Like, get all the clothes off the ground. Let's start with that. And then let's look at it. Like, okay, now let's get the trash. Yeah. They just don't see, I don't know. It's just, it doesn't always come first nature to kids. It's a learned skill.
Absolutely. And, you know, even as an adult, I am so blessed that my husband and I are opposites of this next. So like for me, I get very overwhelmed if I see a mess everywhere, but he gets very overwhelmed in the small details and the organizing right at the end. So him and I have this beautiful dance that we do where he'll take off the top layer, right? Like he does that. Like he gets the big categories out, and then I'll come in and I'll do like the deep clean part and the organizing part. And it's just this beautiful dance that we do together. But yeah, it's super hard. And especially if you're a kiddo and it's your room and you're responsible for both of those pieces, right? Like you have to do it all. It's just overwhelming. So that's what I would say. Like I am really firm in that our kids will always have chores, and they will always, I will always, there's that saying, I inspect what I expect, right? Like I'm going to inspect it and make sure you did it well, which kids love, by the way, right? Like they get bummed. Huge piece of advice to parents is allow your children to be proud of what they've done, right? By going there and saying, okay, show me what you did in the great room today, or show me your bedroom. Oh, your bedroom looks great. Let me see what go through the chore with them and be excited to celebrate their accomplishments. And that will keep them motivated to want to do chores. But I don't even know where I was going with that, but yeah, I don't know where I was headed with that.
Right. I love it. This was a great conversation. It's always so fun to learn what other people do and how other people do things.
Yeah, no, I agree. And hopefully, and I think anybody who's listening to this and because there'll be comments and things and places you can put comments. Let us know your chore systems. So we'd love to hear it, because we're always learning. Even as moms who have many children, right? We have grown and launched children. We're still learning things from each other and from other moms all the time. So, okay. Let me leave you with one final tip, if that's okay. Mm-hmm. So moms, and I hope that every mom hears me, when you have your mom friends over, right? I'm just speaking to mom friends. I'm not talking about, having your mother-in-law over, or your family, like your brothers over, or if you're hosting a party for Christmas, that's totally different. That's not what I'm talking about. But when you host other moms for play dates and things, it is such a disservice when you go above and beyond and make sure your house is immaculate. It sets up such a false standard that your mom friends just can't live up to. None of us can. And so, yes, we can do it for a day, right? Like we can throw it together and polish everything for the play dates. But all it does is makes them hesitant to invite you over next and to host you, because they might not be in a season where they can get their house polished to that degree, or they feel like, that they have to, right? And then that play date never happens and that connection maybe waxes. And it's just, I always tell my mom friends, and I mean it, don't clean for me, right? Like pick up, you want your guests to be comfortable, right? You want them to not feel like they're sitting in filth, but don't go above and beyond like your normal everyday clean. It just makes people feel inadequate and like that they can't measure up. And that's where I think all of that comparison and mom guilt comes into play. So I think a big service we can do for each other is, yes, of course, clean up for your friends, clean up, but don't go above and beyond what you just normally would in a normal day.
Yeah. And don't not invite because of that.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Absolutely.
Like if you tell your younger self, like I was always like, that's just, I live here. Like we live here. Like I can't remember, but I have a sign by my door. Or I don't have a sign by my door, but my friend had a sign where it said,
please
sorry, it was clean yesterday, or something like that. I can't remember. And it was the funniest thing. But then I have one that says something about like, it's lived in, or we love, I don't know. I don't remember what it says, but it's just, we live here. Like this is lived in. This is, yeah.
I've seen the one that says, please excuse the mess. People live here.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So.
All right. I love it.
All right. Thanks. Yes. Thanks everybody. Appreciate you guys. Thank you, Courtney. And I'm excited to implement your mountain. I'm going to do that. Where you bring everything into the middle, and the keeping it until mastery. Those are my 2 takeaways for today.
Yeah. They're good. Like, I mean, it also takes the not having to like retrain all the time. Like it's a lot of work to change chores every month.
It is. Oh yeah. We never change every month. No, that's too much.
All right. Well, have a good week, everybody.
You too. Thanks. Bye.